Question again.
Um, since Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 turned, I believe it was 37 years old
Yes,
when I
we can
reacted
react.
that.
We can react to it, and we just announced it on the air. Welcome to Pink Sock Reacts, everyone. A little side channel for Pink Sock Podcast. This is technically Pink Sock Podcast, technically not. We react and review to albums, movies, music, whatever you guys send us or whatever we think of. Today we're going to be doing Dead Daisies Radiance, which I've been asked to listen to and check out. I will start off by stating that I am a Glenn Hughes fan. I loved his work with Deep Purple. However, I never gave these albums a chance because I was a John Corabi fan when it comes to the Dead Daisies,
Same.
or a John Stevens fan.
Stevens. Yeah.
Now I didn't expect after listening to this album and giving Glenn Hughes a chance. I want to apologize to Glenn Hughes and the Dead Daisies because this album, and I even listened to Holy Ground, which we will cover in the future. It does sound like the Daisies. It sounds like your normal Daisies album. Glenn Hughes
Mm,
did an amazing job. He did an incredible job.
mm.
Does it have the same Daisies feel? There is moments where it has a different, more updated feel. It does sound older in a sense. It does sound kind of the vocal style of. It's not as bluesy as Deep Purple, but the vocal style is there, which is
I was gonna
expected.
say that. I was gonna say that because like there was there's a difference between the two of those vocalists, right?
Yeah,
Um, like John Corabi is more straight up rock, you know what I mean? Like
he's more
rock
of
and roll.
he's more of a rock and roll grunge style vocalist.
Yeah, but then you got Glenn Hughes. He's like is straight up rock, but with a bit of bluesy
Yes,
type. And then I kind of felt like this album reminds me some like the Deep Purple era that he was in.
yes, but more of a heavier sound, instrumentally.
Very, very. I found and I've listened to the album on Higher Ground album as well. The
Yes.
the first Dead Daisies album that he recorded on. Um that's pretty damn heavy. I've only listened to like a couple of tracks, but from what I've heard, it's actually pretty heavy.
Yeah, and like Glenn Hughes is a great songwriter. I've heard stuff outside of Deep Purple, so I knew he'd do a good job with the Daisies, but it was so quick that they went from John Crosby to Glenn Hughes and released an album that I didn't have time to really process it as a fan, and I
Mm.
didn't know what to think of Glenn Hughes as the singer of the Daisies because in my defense, John Stevens was kind of similar to Crosby vocally in a way, where he had like that raspy-ish voice. He had the hard rock, grungy style vocals, and switching
Yeah,
from that to a blues style singer made me wonder. But man, did he pull it off!
it did.
And
Yeah. Eh,
and fuck,
the
dude.
good thing about the Dead Daisies though, it's like because only had three different singers.
Yes, they've had three different singers, and I believe only one original member.
Yeah, which is the rhythm guitarist, the
Yeah,
Australian bloke.
David Lowy. Yeah, he's the founding
Yeah,
member of the Daisies.
and it's still
Um,
carrying the torch. But I kind of like how, like, Glenn Hughes was a perfect fit as well. But like, I'm kind of glad that John Corabi came back
me
and Brian
too.
Tichy.
Me too. I kind of wish what was his name? Marco Mendoza would come back.
Mm, yeah,
When they first announced Krabi was out, because if I remember correctly, they announced Krabi was out before they announced Marco Mendoza. I thought what they were going to do was have Marco sing for the Daisies.
probably that would have been good.
Um, but he didn't. And Marco is a great vocalist. I don't know if any of you listening right now know much about Markham Mendoza or the Daisies, so I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory. They were founded by David Lowy of Australia. He's an Australian bloke, as Greg stated. They are a supergroup. The current lineup features members of Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, all of them fun bands, Motley Crue. But Marco Mendoza, if I'm not mistaken, he was the bassist of Thin Lizzy, correct?
Thin Lizzy, Whitesnake,
Yes.
a lot of bands.
Lot of
I
bands.
guess he was like, kind of like Doug Ulrich and Brian Tichy. They were just like the hired gun people to fill in those spots.
Can we say this? This is actually a good thought that you just made me think of. Dead Daisies is a band made up of session musicians or people that have toured with other bands but aren't the original members.
Yeah, because like over the years, the Dead Daisies after the first album, like, actually no. So when the first album came out, Slash did a song called "Lock and Loaded."
Uh-huh.
You could, and then during the live performances when John Stevens was still in the band, I think Richard Fortas was on guitar, David Lowy, obviously, Steve Stevens. I can't remember who was on drums, and it was
On their debut album.
on the when they were doing like live shows together and stuff. And I think it was a bit Dizzy Reed, but like with the second album, it was Brian Tichy, John Corabi, Marco Mendoza, and Dave Lowy and Dizzy Reed.
Mm-hmm. The drummer on the Dead Daisies debut album was actually multiple people.
Yeah, but for the
Johnny Salerno was the drummer on Lock and Loaded. Dorian Crozier was the drummer on most tracks besides Lock and Loaded, Yesterday and Tomorrow. Yesterday and Tomorrow was Isaac Carpenter.
Yeah, so they had multiple people on there, but for the live performances, they had like Richard Fortas and stuff like that on there, which is pretty cool, I think.
That is cool as fuck.
And it's really good because John Stevens, if like people didn't know as well, he actually he was the singer for NXS after Michael Hutchins passed away.
Mm-hmm. And also, he sung for Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, so he's a well-known artist as well. I believe he'll be playing in Anita Theatre in Thurul, I think, playing NXS songs and stuff like that.
He also sung for Noiseworks.
Yes, another great Australian band. I call it pub band, but yeah.
Like the Wiggles.
The Cockroaches.
The Cockroaches. Now, Gorak, what was your favorite? Did you have favorite songs off this album?
I did. Let me go through Spotify on my phone. Give me a second.
I'll give you a minute for that. And while you're doing that, Gorak, I'd like to make a little announcement. Over the course of this last week, I took over didn't take over. I co-hosted a radio show on Monday.
That's cool. Morning, yeah.
5 a.m. to 7 a.m. But the day before that, I did a comedy show.
I did see a bit of that.
I did do stand-up comedy. You can actually find it on my personal Facebook page. I'm going to post some videos on my public Facebook page because I do have a public Facebook page now because I can't accept a whole lot of non-personal friend requests because I'm trying to keep my page private and that one public. I just hope people respect that. Now, if you want to continue to support me, don't take it personal if you're not on my private page. Until you get to know me better, I'm just going to keep that as friends and family and business people that I know. But I'm a stand-up comedian now. So I'm going to be doing stand-up comedy in the area, and I do plan on bringing it to other states. If you enjoy what you watch or you enjoy this show, even if you don't want me to do stand-up, I will just show up. I'll do your events.
And it'll be on Netflix.
I was thinking Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Disney
Or
Plus.
Paramount Plus. But my favorite tracks.
I want to do stand-up comedy in a Blockbuster.
Pornhub.
Yeah, go ahead. With your favorite songs.
Hypnotize Yourself was a good song. Face Your Fear was a great opener. Born to Fly reminds me of Top Gun.
I can hear it.
You know what I mean? Or Space Jam or something.
Which song was it that they did that kind of sounded like a Bon Jovi song?
Shine On?
Yeah, the one that had the bow wow at the very beginning. The voice box
Hang on,
thing.
I'll skip through because I can mute my mic on here.
I'm just trying to remember which one it was. It was whoops. Shit, that's my phone that I'm listening to. Hold on. I'm trying to remember the song. I got it. Kiss the Sun. Kiss the Sun.
I just skipped that song.
That song
I just skipped that song.
It reminds me of a mixture of like Bon Jovi and Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Like, I love that fucking tune. And I love the Daisies because, like, you can hear the influence of, like, the 70s and 80s bands, but they are also very original. No matter who's in the band, they pump out amazing albums. So you have to give...
feel like the Daisies credit for what they do.
You have to give David Lowy fucking credit for not only hiring the best musicians, but keeping the band amazing and original no matter who's in the band.
Oh, 100%. The guys played with some legendary artists, you know, like he played with Richard Fortas, Dizzy Reed, you know, both from Guns N' Roses. Marco Mendoza that played with, you know, Thin Lizzy and Whitesnake. Now he's playing with Doug Aldrich from Whitesnake and Michael Devon and Brian Tichy again, you know, and John Corabi. Like, I guess it's like every man's dream.
Yeah.
That's formed a band to get these people in the band.
Now, people are probably wondering, who is David Lowy? And how does he know all these people? Or how did he meet all these people?
Who knows, man?
David Lowy, I did some research on David Lowy. David Lowy
is a very low-profile guy.
David Lowy actually is an Australian businessman. He's the oldest son of Westfield Corporation's co-founder Frank Lowy and a principal of Lowy Family Group. It's a family office and an investment group. So he was an investor who left the investment world behind, as far as I know,
to start a band.
And now he is the president and founder of Temora Aviation Museum, and he also, which is the largest Royal Australian Air Force, and he also he does like a lot of stuff with like air pilots and stuff.
Oh, good on him. And now he's touring all over the world.
Yeah, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's been flying airplanes since 1985, so he probably does the whole Iron Maiden shtick where he flies their airplane.
Maybe. But I really like this album. I think because I kind of stopped listening to the Daisies after John Corabi left, because I always just thought that John Corabi was the voice for the Daisies, even though he was the second singer of the band. But I'm kind of happy. I like what Glenn Hughes brought to this band. I thought it was great, and it kind of brings out that heavy rock, bluesy, Deep Purple-ish maybe Richard Blackmore Rainbow style
So, Gorak,
influence.
are you doing
Yeah,
what I did and you're regretting not giving it a chance sooner?
yeah. But because I could never really, because I always knew that Glenn Hughes had a really great voice, because obviously he sang for like fucking Deep Purple for a couple of albums, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, and Deep Purple is one of my favorite bands growing up. But
Yeah.
but his voice is amazing, and for his age as well, he can still
hmm
hit those really high notes, which is pretty impressive for a dude
by the
that
way,
old.
I would like to interrupt you real quick with a bit of a funny. We are mentioning Glenn Hughes, who is the former singer of Deep Purple. He was also the
Mm.
former singer of Black Sabbath. We are not talking about Glenn Hughes, the singer of the Village People, because the
Just in
original,
case.
yeah, because the original Leatherman of the Village People's name was Glenn Hughes. So he didn't come
Glenn
back from the
Hughes
dead.
Glenn Hughes formerly formed the Village People, faked his own death and joined Deep Purple.
But yeah, that's who we're talking about. Now, my favorite songs on the album I'd like to go through as well before we actually tell people what our our end result is. I don't think there was a song I would like to state that I didn't like, which if you would have asked me months ago or even a year ago, I would have been like, I'm not even going to check out that album. As much as I love Glenn Hughes, it's not the Daisies. It's not the Daisies. Fuck that. I was stupid. This is the Daisies. This is a great fucking album.
Mm.
Face Your Fear, as you stated, a great opener. Hypnotize Yourself, great song. Shine On, great song. Kiss the Sun, Radiance, Born to Fly, they're all great. My favorite tunes are probably Face Your Fear, Hypnotize Yourself, Radiance, and Kiss the Sun.
Yeah, I would like to see, because the Daisies are back on tour now with
Uh-huh.
John Corabi and Brian Tichy. I would like to hear John Corabi sing these songs.
I would love to hear his versions of these songs. I really would. I'm hoping they do that after the Best of tour.
Yeah, that'd be
Because I don't
cool.
because I don't think they're doing anything that era
They just
on the
they just played. Well, they just played their first show with
yeah,
John Corabi and Brian Tichy back in the band.
I don't think they're doing anything off this album, but they might be because Hypnotize Yourself was on the Best of album.
I reckon they will. Um,
Um there was a
let's have
couple,
a
I think
look.
a couple songs off of this album that made it to the Best of. So I'm not sure. I'll have to look at their set list, which I can bring up right now actually.
That's
What's
funny.
the
I was gonna look at that now.
what's the name of the tour? Resurrected?
No. Give me a second.
It's got to be called
Um,
Resurrected because that's the only set list I can find from 2023. Yeah, it's Resurrected is the name of it.
oh yeah, sorry. So this is the one from a couple of days ago.
mhm.
So they did Resurrected, Rise Up, Dead and Gone, Make Some Noise, Miles in the Front, Unspoken, Face of Love, something I said, Lock and Loaded, Born to Fly.
Hmm.
And they
See,
did
they did.
Slide It In, which was a um Whitesnake cover. But and
So,
this is what I didn't know too. Sorry,
mhm,
dude, but like
you're good.
um so the Dead Daisies released the covers album,
hmm
and I didn't know Midnight Moses was a cover song.
Yep, it's originally by the sensational Alex Harvey Band.
I did
Um,
not know that.
I find it weird they closed with "Slide It In," which is a Whitesnake cover.
Still a good
Uh,
song.
it is a great song. Now I am very shocked, though. You said that we hope that he does songs off this album. He did do "Born to Fly."
Yeah, and he played one song off the latest album.
Yeah, which was Born to Fly.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure they did an album from Higher Ground. A song from Higher Ground, I believe. Holy
Oh, they
Ground,
did?
sorry. They did 2 songs from Holy Ground.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even look at that. They did which songs off Holy Ground? Hold on.
Is
I'm
it
trying to bring
Miles
up
in Front of Me?
Miles in Front of Me was not on Holy Ground.
Face
Uh,
I Love?
They did. No, Face of Love was not on Holy Ground.
Unspoken.
Unspoken was on Holy Ground, yes.
Yeah, and maybe Bustle and Flow, maybe.
No. Yes, that was on Higher Ground. So they did
There you
quite a
go.
few songs off Holy Ground. So that's very interesting that they're doing all eras, which is great because it's still the Dead Daisies. That's like very, very reminiscent of like Guns N' Roses doing Chinese Democracy songs.
Which they sound good live
That's what I've
when
heard.
I saw them. But
Um,
speaking of Guns N' Roses, have you listened to the new single?
Oh, yes, I have. I had to think about it because I've been listening to a lot of fucking music lately. If you noticed on Facebook, I've been
Yeah.
listening to a lot of recent music, and that one popped up, perhaps. I must say, I am excited for the new Guns N' Roses album they're working on. And I have a feeling they're finally going to release an album that people are going to recognize and notice and actually love as much, might not be as much, but equally as much as their debut album. Because every time Guns N' Roses released an album, it never, they were good. I think they were really good, but they never got the same recognition as Appetite for Destruction. It seems like they're always competing with Appetite for Destruction. I think this upcoming album is going to get some fucking noise.
I perhaps sounded like a bit like some of the songs from Usual Illusion.
It did.
If you
Now,
listen to it.
Now, what makes me kind of sad though, and I kind of hope they do this eventually, is get Izzy back
I really doubt that.
for one song, not
Yeah,
for a fucking tour, not for a fucking album, just one song.
yeah.
Because Izzy's
I
been in the
know.
band on and off.
Yeah, he made an appearance when they did the Las Vegas show when it was like DJ Ashbar, Ron Bubblefoot, and stuff like that in the band. He played
Yeah,
Dead Flowers.
yeah, like they could
That
do it.
was 2012, I think.
You know what's
I don't
really
remember.
weird? You know what's really weird? The first
What's
ever
that?
Guns N' Roses tour was called the Early Days of Guns N' Roses. It's like they knew.
Oh, cool.
It's like they fucking knew. Either that or that's just what they're calling it now. But the
Yeah.
thing is with Guns N' Roses though is that currently they have the most original members in the band than they've ever had
Yeah.
in recent
Well,
years.
to see Dizzy Reed back in the band's kind of cool because he was a part of the Usual Illusion
Yeah.
era.
He
But
wasn't
like
part
he wasn't?
No, he wasn't. He was part of Use Your Illusion, but he wasn't part of Appetite of Destruction. That was the point I was going to make.
No. Yeah, but like um it's just good to see Axel Slash and Duff back on the same page again.
Yeah.
Even though Slash and Duff played in Velvet Revolver. But to see Richard Fortus playing rhythm and lead with Slash, I think it's a good combo because Izzy Stradlin was a great guitarist and songwriter, but
Yes, he was.
I think he was just always known as the rhythm guitarist for the
You
band,
know
and
what?
Slash did all the leads.
Yeah, and you know
But
what's really weird though?
with Richard Fortus though, he's a mixture of both, and
You
that's
know
what I
what's
like
real.
about it.
You know what's really weird though? Look at the
Mm,
bands that we cover, like Dead Daisies, for instance. All these
yeah,
bands go back to either Guns N' Roses or LA Guns. Those two bands have had so many members and lineup changes that every band that we have covered so far, bigger name acts, has had at least one member of Guns N' Roses play for them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. It's kind of almost a reunion, a little bit.
Everything goes
But you know
back
what
to
I'm
Guns N'
saying.
Roses.
But you know what I mean by like Richard Fortus and Slash teaming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, it's good to see they could both switch parts in between the songs. Like Richard Fortus can probably do one solo, and then Slash comes in and does the second part of the solo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And
it's kind of
beautiful.
like when I saw, yeah. Well, that's what it's kind of like when I saw them a couple of years ago, and they opened up with Chinese Democracy, and it was really weird to see Slash play it, but it was really good. But then the first part of the solo, Richard Fortus played that, which is Bumblefoot's solo, and then the second solo, Slash played it, and then I thought it was really great. It's
So
beautiful to watch.
So another thing is Guns N' Roses did release a single earlier in the year before we get back to Dead Daisies. They released a song that actually was originally supposed to be on Chinese Democracy.
Yeah, it was a B-side.
It was originally called
Was it?
Silkworm. I forget what the name is now, but they performed it on their Chinese Democracy tour from 2001 until 2004, which shows how long this album took to come out.
Yeah.
The song was called Silkworm originally. And if you listen to the updated version of it, you can still hear that, yeah, it was written by Buckethead. You can definitely hear that was a Buckethead song.
I'm pretty sure it was called High School something, I think.
No. High
that
School, that was a Slash song.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
The one I'm talking about was called Silkworms originally. I forget what it was called when it came out with Slash. You can find live footage of it from the original tour. It's called Absurd now.
Oh, okay.
You actually, I don't think you can find it on Spotify. I think they took it down.
Who knows?
But anyway, the Dead Daisies album, Greg. Radiance.
Have you seen them live though?
Who?
Dead Daisies?
Oh, I saw them live 2018, 2017. I saw them live.
With John Corabi in the band?
With Corabi, Dean Castronova, David Lowy, John Corabi, Marco Mendoza, and Doug Aldrich was all in the band, and Dizzy Reed opened up.
Ah, nice.
Along with my buddy, along with my buddy's band, Neverwake.
Oh, that's cool. Freaking my brother went and saw them when they opened up for Kiss one time, and it was John. Yeah, it was John Corabi, Dave Lowy, Richard Fortus, Malcolm Mendoza, and Brian Tichy on drums.
So, since we both listened to Holy Ground and Radiance, and we've discussed both albums, how do you compare the two? Which one would you say is the better of the two?
Well, I've only listened to bits of Holy Ground, but from what I've heard maybe 2 or 3 tracks from Holy Ground. It's heavy, like just hard hitting rock. But with this album, I kind of feel like it's just a mixture of heavy blues.
I agree, and also like it's heavy blues and rock, but it's also kind of like they're starting to discover their sound with Glenn Hughes on this one, like a little more of like the bluesy style, which is sad because he left not long after this album came out.
Yeah, but then I did some homework as well on it. After when Glenn Hughes left, they asked John Corabi to come back because they said that they would always love to have him back in the band.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Because like
Krabby.
he would like replace them though if John Karabi didn't come back. That'd be hard.
Well, I don't know why Glenn left. He might have left for the same reason Krabby did. Krabby left because he wanted to do a solo thing and do his own thing, from my understanding.
Mm.
Now, if I had to choose somebody to replace him, like their fourth singer, I would bring back either John Stevens,
Yeah.
or you could get a hold of Tony Martin.
That or Vince Neil? No, joking.
No. Tony Martin would have been a great choice.
Yeah.
I personally
Sebastian
would say
Bach.
Sebastian Bach would be all right.
He'd be average, I think, but I don't know. He can't sing now, to be honest.
Sebastian does a lot better job than Vince Neil. I think he still sounds good. He just doesn't have the pitch anymore. But the thing is you try to have that pitch at his age.
Exactly.
Like
Phil Anselmo sounds better than Vince Neil.
Phil actually sounds really good on this recent tour, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I believe Tony went and saw Pantera opening up.
He
Metallica,
did.
I think.
You know who else I would have sing for Daisies if that was a choice? How about get somebody from LA Guns to do it?
Phil Lewis.
Phil Lewis would be great, even though he's busy with somebody's version of LA Guns.
His own version.
No, it's
they
him
won
and
the court. Tracy.
Yeah, it's Tracy Gunn's version of LA Guns, which is closer to LA Guns than Riley's.
Yeah, because Steve Riley claims that obviously he was the longest member in the band, but like he wasn't the original.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't.
So yeah, but Phil, it's always gonna be Phil and Tracy, hands down. Which the new LA Guns album is actually pretty good too.
How are you going to have a LA Guns without the guns? LA Guns was founded by Tracy.
Yeah, exactly. It's his band.
It's his fucking thing. But anyway, the Dead Daisies. We keep getting off track. This is ADD at its finest. What do you rank this album 1 out of 10?
I go 8.5 out of 10.
I give it an 8.5 out of 10 as well. This is
for like the whole album itself, 8.5 out of 10. But like the songwriting, the songwriting, the lyrics, I'll give it a 10 though. For that.
I agree. This was a fucking incredible album. And it deserves a lot more credit than it's gotten. I apologize if I wrongfully judged this album. Fucking awesome.
Don't cancel us, Glenn Hughes.
It's 8.5 out of 10. Next week we're going to be reacting to Texas Chainsaw. And we're also going to
underrated movie.
We're also going to bring a friend of ours on here for a reacts in 2 weeks. I'm going to talk to him about it and see if he can do it. He wants to do Studio 666.
Fuck yeah.
Which is a Dave Grohl movie.
Or Foo Fighters movie, really.
Foo Fighters movie. But Gorak, anything you want to promote? Because I'm going to be doing comedy shows soon. I'll be promoting the hell out of those. I'm going to be doing a lot of shit. So keep your eyes open on my separate Facebook page, because eventually I'm going to have merch for that too. And if you want Pink Sock merch, we have a shop up. Is there anything you want to promote, Gorak, in your life?
My girlfriend's bras up here. But anyway.
You caught it.
That's about it. Yeah.
All right, brother. Do you still do the covers and shit?
I have. I've been learning like hymn songs at the moment.
Oh,
And
we did that reacts, and now you're into him.
yeah. I've learned Love Letting by Billy Vallow as well and stuff. So
Dude, that's
whenever
fucking
I can
cool.
get around to it, whenever I can get around to it, dude. I've just been too busy and shit
Oh, I
with
get it,
work
man.
and yeah.
Life is fucking busy. But Gorak, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let all of our listeners go. Um, thank you so much every week for doing this, Gorak. I truly appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in each and every week and listening. Love y'all, and as always, live long, rock hard,
Spot the bra.
spot the bra.